Hello, BookTube. I have a little mail haul to start off the week. I'm not sure that's the only mail I'll get today, but I thought I'd jump right in because yesterday was so long without any free books. So we'll start with this package, and we won't be the first ones to get at it. We still haven't had that little talk, my little Frida and I, about when it's acceptable to attack packages and when it's not. I'm going to have that talk soon. In the meantime, so what have we got here? Oh my. Okay, grim reading from Basic Books. Goodness gracious. Okay, this comes out in late September, and it is by Marnold Hockenhuis, and it's Then They Came for Me. Martin Niemöller, the pastor who defied the Nazis. Oh my. Okay, so is this going to be a full-length biography or not? Let's see what the pub sheet has to say. He's remembered as the principal pastor who defied the Nazis and wrote the famous post-war confession. And let's read it out, shall we, since it applies in 2018 more than it has in 70 years. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a communist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Might do to print that out, paste it up on the wall, or maybe paste it right over your computer when you watch the nightly news. But anyway, let's see here. Today, that confession is frequently invoked by a multitude of activists and others. Though it reflected its author's particular circumstances in Nazi and post-Nazi Germany, groups and organizations ranging from Black Lives Matter to the Tea Party have appropriated the quotation for their causes. School teachers employ it to instruct American youth on the virtues of diversity and good citizenship. College students adorn their dorm rooms with posters bearing the German pastor's words. Politicians and pundits on the left invoke it in response to crackdowns on undocumented immigrants and minorities, while the Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington prominently displays the confession. Who's missing from that list? Anybody? Anybody? Did you catch it? Who's missing from that list? Republican politicians in America in the 21st century are missing from that list. Republicans are missing from that list. Completely missing from that list. The politicians and pundits on the left do not just invoke it in response to crackdowns on undocumented immigrants and minorities. They also use it in response to crackdowns on documented immigrants, to people who are perfectly legally citizens of the United States. They use it in response to that as well. They also use it to an entire island being left without electricity for an entire half of a year because the man who could greenlight the emergency funds is a racist. Activists use it when they point at Puerto Rico, but Republican senators do not use it. And too large a percentage of the country, a third of the country, also does not think that way. They're living in Decatur or Billings or whatever, and they look at the story of Puerto Rico in the dark on the news, people dying because there's no hospital equipment to run their dialysis, and they think, well, it's not me. Anyway, I want to know now if this is a full biography. Would Niemöller's admirers embrace the confession so enthusiastically if they knew of his support for Adolf Hitler during his rise to power? Oh my. Historian Matthew Hockenhuis weaves together Niemöller's personal story with the great dramas of the 20th century that drove his moral and political evolution. Neither vilifying nor hagiographic, Hockenhuis seeks to understand Niemöller and his confession, and to reveal what... Turn page here. I've got the one hand up. And to reveal what transformation, from Nazi sympathizer to committed pacifist, tells us about how and under what circumstances such reversals are possible. Okay, so it sounds like it's going to be a little bit more thematic than comprehensive as a biography. Maybe, though, this author can do amazing things with concision. You never know. Let's hope for the best. Let's move on. We've only got 3 packages this time around, so we'll see what we have. This is another finished copy. Oh, okay. I think we saw this already. This is the finished copy due out in mid-September of Borrowing of Bones by Paula Munier. That is Great big dog on the cover. A compelling mystery that also tackles the tribulations of a retired U.S. Army vet and her canine companion after they have returned from active duty. This debut is full of complex twists and real details about search and rescue dog training that the author learned through the training of her own dog. Huh. Okay. So it's Mercy Carr. Mercy Carr is the retired soldier, and her dog is Elvis. Okay, so what do we know about this author? Look at that. Look at the size of that tongue. She is an author of the best-selling Plot Perfect, The Writer's Guide to Beginning Writing with Quiet Hands, and Fixing Freddie, a true story of a boy, a mom, and a very, very bad beagle. Oh, wait. Fixing Freddie, I think I read. Well, those are all nonfiction. She was inspired to write A Borrowing of Bones by the hero working dog she met through Mission Canine Rescue. We don't have any working dogs in this room. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is her debut. That's fantastic. Okay, if we saw this originally, I'm not sure that I remembered that. So this is a debut murder mystery starring a woman and her dog. All right, and then this last one. This last one, another finished copy. What have we got here? Oh boy, this was great. I got it ahead of time. I got the advanced copy, and I couldn't hold off. I read it, and I loved it. Just loved it. I think we've seen it on this channel. It also comes out in September. This is by Roberto Saviano. It would kill you to smile. But maybe he doesn't have anything to smile about. He was born in 1979. And studied philosophy at the University of Naples. Gomorrah, his first book, has won many awards, including the prestigious 2016 Via Reggio Literary Award, and was adapted into a play, a film, and a TV series. Good for him. Wow, good for him. And the translation is by Anthony Sugar, and the book is The Piranhas. This is just... the subtitle is The Boy Bosses of Naples. I think we saw this before, and I think I read it to you before. I'll read it again because I thought it was fantastic. When the Italian journalist Robert Saviano's first book, Gomorrah, was published in 2006, it instantly turned its author into both a best-selling writer and a marked man. An expose of organized crime in Naples, the book led directly to arrests, then threats being made on the author's life. In the years since, he has been forced to live under continuous police protection. The threats, however, did not quiet his voice. Gomorrah has had a long and rich publishing life, which has seen the book released in dozens of countries around the world and adapted for both the big and small screen. Saviano followed his debut with 000, an investigation into the global cocaine trade, and now Farrar, Straus and Giroux is thrilled to announce his third book and first novel, The Piranhas, which will be published in a translation from the Italian on September 4th. Where Gomorrah was a novelistic work of investigative journalists, Piranhas grapples with the same subject matter in a different literary form. The story of an audacious group of teenagers who willfully turn themselves into legitimate players in Naples' criminal underworld. The Piranhas is a gripping work of fiction that was directly inspired by fact. And look at that cover. Isn't that amazing? Like Jason Purcell turned to crime. But and it's an incredible picture of the criminal underside of Naples in the modern era. But the thing that I thought was amazing about it, I mean, I love that. I love that aspect of it. It never stops. It's just, it just rushes on from page to page. Just amazing. It takes work to be able to write like that. For this to be the author's first try at it. Well, I guess you learn that pacing as a journalist, but still, it's different in fiction. It's harder to sustain. But I thought that was impressive about the book, but the main thing I thought was the portrait of young manhood. Not adolescence, but not adulthood either. That weird period in between that I know quite a bit about. It's very hard to portray accurately on the written page, and because it's so delicate and it's so chameleon-like in its different moods, even from minute to minute, much less day to day. And the author does an incredible job. It's just an incredible job. It's an amazing work. And also I should put in a note for Anthony Sugar, the translator, which is that the whole time that I was reading it, I never for a moment had my usual response. Usually when I'm reading a work in translation, I get 20, 30 pages in, and mentally I start reaching for the laptop to find the Amazon for whatever country that is and order the book, the original, the non-translated version of the book. It's like just the sword of Damocles hanging over my head when I'm reading a work in translation, to just wait for that moment, because I know that it's going to come. It almost never doesn't, and it never happened in this book. Not ever. Not even in there are some in the third act, as you would of the book. There are some dialogue portions, dialogue portions that weave in and out of people's minds and in and out of really subtle implications. There's a lot going on in that dialogue, aside from just what's being said. And that is exactly where I would expect to start encountering translatorese, where I would expect to encounter things that I think, okay, well, I don't know who that is, but it's not the author of the book. And that never happens in this book. I don't know if Sugar did this in consultation with Saviano, or if he's just really, really good. His name is familiar. I'm pretty sure I've read him in his translations before. But BookTube, I cannot recommend this book highly enough. As a portrait of young manhood, really, although it'll horrify you for the stories, because I'm sure that all the stories are based on fact. I'm sure that the horrors that we see in this book about living in a place where organized crime is the most powerful factor, I'm sure those stories are all based on fact, and they're horrifying. But anyway, so there we go. We have The Piranhas by Robert Saviano, a work in translation. Then we have A Borrowing of Bones, a debut murder mystery. And then they came from me, a study of Nemo, of his life, his times, how he went from saying, the Nazis are just the shot in the arm this country needs, to saying they're the worst evil that I've ever encountered in my life or ever read about. That's a fantastic trio of books. And now I've got to clean up for an hour. Just get a bag and a broom and clean up after my own little piranha. But I'll wrap this up for now. But I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.